Yeah.
I was going to say, so how are you going to control the slides?
No, I'm doing it. Stays here.
Is it on?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay. Let's get everybody to take a seat so we can get started. Good evening, everybody. My name is Yvette Romo, and I am the president of the Rowland Heights Community Coordinating Council. And first of all, I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce my board to you. My first VP in charge of programs, Brandon Macias, is right here to my left. My second VP in charge of community improvement is Kim De La Peza. Second VP, in charge of membership is Maria Kramer. She's the one at the end in the pink. And I don't think I have Charles or Denise here this evening, so that is the RHCCC board. And to kind of restate what RHCCC is a forum for the community to receive information from our community partners, from the local political representatives, the Sheriff's Department, the CHP, and it's basically a place where you all can voice your concerns, your needs, your opinions, and so this organization is for you all. So I am so glad to see so many of you out today. I know you're probably interested in the data centers, but I would hope that you would continue to come every month. It's a wealth of information. Quick reminder to our community partners that when you're up here, we have a full schedule today. So if you could be as brief as possible in your reports, and if you need to take questions, or if you have any questions for them, if you would take them to the side and ask questions. That way we can go on with the program as quickly as we can. And also another quick reminder is next month's meeting, this auditorium is going to go under some renovations. So next month's meeting, May 11th, will be held at the clubhouse in the upper level. So you would go up the road here, and there's a building there to your left, and that is what they call the clubhouse. And it's a little bit smaller building, so it might be tight, but that's where we're going to have our May 11th meeting. And then in June, due to some more renovations that they may or may not be ready for, we are going to move from the second Monday in June to the third Monday in June. So in June, the meeting will be on the 15th, and it would be here. Okay? I'll remind you again, and Brandon will be good to send out some information telling you those two changes. Okay, let's begin our meeting. If we could have everybody please stand so that we can do the flag salute. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. And we are going to begin. I already gave you some quick announcements. And we are going to begin with the LA County Sheriff's Department. Deputy Ray is in training right now. He is our new deputy that took over for Deputy Denver and Deputy Maldonado. And we do have Deputy Suarez here. He's going to be Deputy Suarez to our Deputy Maldonado, and Deputy Ray is to our Deputy Denver. So he is not ready to give a report today because he's really new and he just stepped out of work. But he's here to look good. So, welcome, Deputy Flores. And so we'll move on to LA County Parking Enforcement, and I believe we have Catherine Vance here today.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I brought stat sheets with information in regards to what our statistics were for the month of March. For the entire unincorporated area that our parking control officers handle at Walnut Sheriff Station, we issued a total of 569 citations. The highest number was for street sweeping. I know this area doesn't have street sweeping, but that's what our highest numbers were. I also brought pamphlets. This has our email address and telephone numbers if you need to reach us for ongoing parking enforcement issues. Please send us an email. For emergent requests, such as blocked driveways, blocking fire hydrants, please call the station and ask them to dispatch a call for service so that they can send a parking control officer out to handle that. Any questions, I'll be more than happy to take them outside. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to the California Highway Patrol, and we have Officer Guzman and Officer Limon here this evening.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Officer Guzman? I do that, don't I? I always do that. We unfortunately don't have any statistics for our crashes. Our entire department has been dealing with network issues, but we do want to bring up that this month it's been Distracted Driver Awareness Month, which means cell phones, right? And it's not just cell phones. Distracted driving can be anywhere from putting on your makeup while you're driving. We will stop you. We will give you a ticket for that. Eating, believe it or not, if you're eating food, that can also be a distraction. Most people don't see it that way, but it can be. And of course, the cell phone. For those of you that don't know, your first offense when you get a citation, it doesn't count as a moving violation, but anything thereafter within 36 months, if you were to get another ticket for cell phone, now you're looking at that point that goes on your driver's license. And those are the things that you want to avoid because you get 3 points, 3 moving points. Now you're looking at a suspension of your driver's license. And that can be for up to 1 to 3 years. I don't have anything else unless Officer Limon, nothing else? Do you guys have any questions, any concerns as far as enforcement that's been needed in the area? We already know Pathfinder is always an issue. We're still enforcing speed in that area, but do you guys have anything else? Ah, perfect. Yes.
I don't know if it's under your jurisdiction when we have these semi-trucks going over, when we have the semi-trucks going over Fulton Road and Harbor Boulevard. I still see trucks going over the hill, and I don't know whether they're legal or not, or they're allowed to do that, because they do take traffic.
They do take up the traffic?
Yes, they do.
We have to look at the signs that are posted by Public Works. But yeah, we do go actually pretty far up to Vantage Point. Yeah, up to Vantage Point. Anything beyond that will go over to La Habra. But we can absolutely take a look at the area for any trucks that are passing by.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, I saw somebody else. Yes, sir. What's that? Oh, okay.
I was just curious, on Pathfinder, is there any patrols at nighttime? Because that's generally when we hear all the racing and motorcycles and speeding going on.
Nighttime patrol. So a lot of that depends on the amount of graveyard units that we do have available for the night. We normally do have 1 or 2 units that can be assigned to the unincorporated area. However, if they get tied up with a call, which most of the time we do end up with more of the grinders, right, like the DUI crashes, then they might not be available to do that extra patrol. But typically we do have graveyard units that are around the area. Is there somewhere specific on Pathfinder, or just in general the entire stretch there?
I think it's between Harbor and coming this direction, like toward Blandford. That's where I usually hear them.
Okay.
I mean,
Yes, ma'am.
I think they're drinking too.
Thank you very much. My name is Mona. I just want to ask you, Desire is a private street. Corner is a senior villa. And after is a junior high. But this private street have over 100 containers parking in and out. Do you have anything pay attention to, or you can do any solution for the elder people and the school students? Do you know?
Can we talk after the meeting?
That's a big
You
issue.
and I, yeah, can you and I
Yes.
talk after so that we can really get into the details? That's okay?
Sure.
Okay. Is that it? All right, thank you, everybody.
If you have any other questions for the officers, you can please take them outside and they will answer your questions. They'll take the time, as much time as you need. I'm going to move on to, I did not see Andrea yet. And then LA Parks, I believe, Josh, you said you didn't have anything, is that correct? Correct. And then we'll move on to the office of Congresswoman Linda Sanchez. I did not see anyone. Ulissa's not here. So we'll move on to the office of Assemblywoman Lisa Calderon. Stephen Cornell, I did see him here tonight. Thank you for coming.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Stephen Cornell, the office of Member Lisa Calderon. I just have a quick legislative update. So we have a legislative deadline coming up, which is April 26th, which is the last day for fiscal bills to be heard in committee, and on May 1st, last day for non-fiscal bills to be heard in committee as well. So the Assembly member did present 13 bills, but I do want to share one that was a great concern stemming from the wildfires last year. So she did introduce AB 2517, which is fire hazard severity zones transparency. So that will give the public more time to voice their opinions on the fire maps authored by CAL FIRE. And yeah, right now we've been getting lots of complaints from the public on like why did their particular area get classified as high risk, and with that goes up with insurance rates. So this will give the public an avenue to like contest why their zone is rated that particular way. So hopefully that gets through our committee and it gets signed by the governor. And lastly, I do want to address the data center issue. So the Assembly member, she agrees that Point Hills Mall should be designated for, whatever it's going to be developed there should be for the community. So she's actively monitoring the situation, working with our community partners, and getting more information on particular like BESS and the risks of data centers. And with that, I do want to mention that there were two bills that went through the Utilities and Energy Committee last week that deals with regulating data centers. So first one is AB 1577 by Assemblymember Bauer Khan, which mandates data centers report monthly energy usage and efficiency information to the California Energy Commission before they even start constructing or developing. So that one, and AB 2383, which is by Assemblymember Zabur. This one requires the California Public Utilities Commission to establish a retail electricity classification rate schedule for large energy use facilities, i.e. data centers. So both of the bills the member did vote yes on, and we're looking forward to more bills coming our way that would deal with the situation, and we encourage the public to give us a call, email us if you see any bills that you would like the member to vote yes or no for. We're all ears, and yeah. And I'd like to take questions. All right, Mr. Humphreys.
What was the impetus for now data centers have been in California since 1998. What happened now? Was it Moss Landing, or was it this fine work that Ms. Phelan and the crew has done here that has brought this thing to fore? And also that we had #1 Wilshire building downtown that has a BES and so forth. And you don't hear anybody complaining about anything in this idea about the community. It's all for the community. Thank you.
I just have a question about the two bills. I'm just wondering, are those bills going to include, like, or be grandfathered into the data centers that have already, like, been going on, or is it going to be an effective date? Because then what would happen with those data centers? Are they going to be affected too, or do you get what I'm trying to say?
No, that's a good question. So these bills, for now, it deals with the energy consumption, but it doesn't take into water into account just yet. I know there are other bills that have been also still in committee, but hasn't gone to the assembly member just yet. But we'll continue to monitor for any more legislation for that.
Okay, thank you. Hi, thank you very much. My name is Susan. Hi, everybody. I want some clarification. I know that Hilda Solis has put forward an ordinance request, and then the bills that we're talking about here. The wording from Hilda Solis's office, and I know you're not from her office, but it says data centers in unincorporated areas. It doesn't say anything about data centers that are on the border of a city that she doesn't control, right? So I live in Hacienda Heights. I'm going to be right across the street from this BES Center and a mile away from the Pointing Hills Mall. So it's not going to do us a whole lot of good if these things only refer to unincorporated areas. Our problem, our immediate problem, is City of Industry building all of these centers on the border. So that's my first question. And then my second question is, where the hell is the governor in all of this? We need legislation now to ban this stuff, to slow this stuff down, and stop letting the rich shove crap down our throats that are going to kill us, cost us money. I'm done, from the White House on down. It needs to stop, and the governor needs to be involved, and that's not your problem, I understand, but those are my two questions.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, for first question in regards to LA County only governing unincorporated communities, where the state plays into that, that's where we could have a higher authority in creating new laws that would, govern over City of Industry. So we appreciate you guys telling us what kind of, for example, you guys are asking for a moratorium. There are just, of course, different ways we could ask for that to the state. I don't know particularly how we could, on my end, I'm just a field rep, but I mean, there's definitely ways the state could step in that regards. But I do want to note that when it comes to creating new legislation that would govern how cities, how they can develop. Now we've already run into issues, for example, like SB 330, which mandates the state and RETA numbers, we need housing. So I could foresee something similar, saying that, hey, you're taking away power for our city, and that's going to affect everyone else. So that's the only issue I could see with creating more legislation to regulate land usage in terms of what City of Industry is doing right now. And then for your second question, what the governor is doing, well, unfortunately, we had one bill that would have been regulating water usage and water monitoring by data centers. That bill actually went all the way to his desk back in September, which he eventually vetoed. And his reason was just data is the way going forward, but that is the governor's prerogative, his opinion. So there are just more bills out there that we hope, could make him see the other way. I'll take one more question.
Hi,
Good evening. I see about maybe 100 people here. I've been a Rowland resident for 28 years, and my question, I have one question and a statement for the boss, and but I'll get back to you in a minute. How can we get the community to find out what the hell is going on? Everybody needs to be informed because it's going to affect my kids, your grandchildren. Why the hell is this place not packed? One. And how can we help to maybe pass out flyers, do something for the, as a whole, as a community? And in '98, the data centers, obviously, nobody was informed just exactly how, so no one is informed because everything is done behind closed doors, everybody's kept in the dark, and they don't give a shit about the community because all you gotta do is all they care about is standing in their goddamn pockets. And that's how it is, that's how it's gonna continue to be, unless the community stops it once and for all.
Right.
You can take them outside, and we need to keep going on with our program. Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead.
Brandon?
Be brief. Yes, the state can control the whole state. To answer your question, Susan, the county cannot control a city, and particularly not a charter city. That's more complicated. The laws make it more difficult. And so what you're seeing now, school district by school district, city by city, county by county, you are seeing mass opposition that's going to push the legislature forward to be able to do a moratorium to ban battery centers and data centers until a full analysis can be done. You have been seeing over time here that CEQA, the laws about the environment, have been waived and passed over. Things have been passed. It doesn't have just city boundary impact, like city of industry. It has impact all across our region, okay? So county to county is one issue, city to city is one issue, unincorporated areas is an issue, school districts, they don't have a right. I keep pointing at her because she's on the school board for Hacienda La Puente. That's Adriana Quinones. Hacienda La Puente did a resolution to do a moratorium to ban these centers, but they don't own the city or the county, they don't own that, but they're doing it anyway because it's showing mass concern and mass opposition. That's why it's important, and everybody needs to step up and do their part. Go to your neighbors, go to your friends, go to your family and relatives, go to your school districts, go to the other city meetings. El Monte just recently took action. Bassett School District did. Hacienda La Puente School District. So we're doing it one by one, all around to get it stopped. Thank you so much.
We need to move on. I know everybody wants to say what they came here to say. You're all passionate, and I appreciate that. Let's get through our community partners, and then we can save all these other questions for our speakers who will have a wealth of information to give to you. I appreciate your passion. Let's move on to the LA County Library, Schumann Song.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shuman Zong, and I'm the library manager at Rowland Heights Library. I have 3 updates to share with everyone today, starting off with our One Book, One Coast program. It is the largest West Coast library book club program, bringing together more than 190 library systems in California, Washington State, and Oregon. We'll be reading George Takei's They Call Us Enemy book, and this program celebrates literacy, learning, community, and civil discourse. Now, we have a limited number of copies available for electronic checkout via our Libby app in English and in Spanish. And then physical copies are available at all LA County libraries. If we don't have one available, we'll place one on hold for you and we'll get it to your hands. For Rowland Heights Library, we do have a feature program called Japanese American Bird Pins, and that's on May 2nd at 10:30. And a culminating in-person event at East Los Angeles Library on May 31st, and that will feature actor, author, and activist George Takei in a special conversation with our library director. Second, in case you didn't know, LA County Library has a tool lending program at 6 of our libraries. So Compton, Lancaster, Malibu, Norwalk, Rosemead, and San Fernando, the closest being Rosemead. So our tool lending program allows the public to check out tools. So garden tools, sewing machines, cookware, power tools, crickets, and so much more. And you can check them out for 7 days at a time. And recently we've added musical instruments as well. So if you're wanting to tinker with guitars, keyboards, electric drum kits, they can be checked out for 3 weeks at a time. And take a look at our online catalog. We have all of the tools listed on our website. And this is a great opportunity to check out a tool before investing money into buying one. Or if you're just going to use it one time, check it out at the library. And lastly, the library is partnering with the Department of Regional Planning to provide chat with the planner sessions at our library on the first Tuesday of every month, from 1 to 4. So if you have any questions about land use, zoning, what county planners do, come speak with a planner. I did place some flyers on the desk with the date and times. They will be at Rowland Heights Library as well as Hacienda Heights Library. If you have any questions, please ask. Thank you.
We're going to move on to Mount San Antonio College, and Dr. Tammy Pearson will be in for Judy Chen Haggard.
Thank you very much. I am Tammy Pearson. I'm the Associate Vice President for the School of Continuing Education. It's a non-credit side, and I have a feeling I'm like one of the last people between you and why you are here tonight, so I will go quickly. Just a couple things. Our speech and debate teams, they earned top finishes at an international competition that was held in Greece, and then also a state competition that had over 32 schools, and we ended up with over 21 individual awards. In March and then again in April, we held the Women of Color Conference, and then in April we had the Men of Color Conference. The Women of Color was really had over 750 participants to advance women in leadership roles within higher education, and same thing with the Men of Color, over 600 participants, again, around leadership issues. In August, we're going to host the Para-Pan-Pacific Championships. It's an international competition. It's a Paralympic swimming competition with athletes who have physical, visual, and intellectual impairments. And then Dr. Garcia, we are very proud of Dr. Garcia. She is our president at Mount SAC, and she's been selected as one of 23 community college leaders nationwide to participate in the Aspen Institute College Excellence Program's Aspen President's Fellowship. She'll be working with over 23 other college presidents across the United States, representing 14 states. We're very excited about that. Lastly, I just want to we have a strong partnership here at the Parks and Recreation. Our older adult programs are here, so we're thank you for that and anybody who participates. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now we're going to move on to the Rowland Unified School District, and our superintendent, Alex Flores, will give the report.
Good evening. I'll be brief because I know everybody wants to hear the speaker. The Rowland Unified Board of Education would like to share two important resolutions that were passed at the last Thursday's board meeting. The first is a resolution supporting the continuation of funding provided by Proposition 55. The board supports the passage of the California Children's Education and Healthcare Protection Act of 2026. Without this, California revenue will be reduced by over $5 billion, resulting in devastating cuts to our schools, health services, and other essential services. After careful review and concerns raised from our community, the board passed a resolution to formally oppose the City of Industry's approval of Zoning Code Amendment number 2502. And 4 of our board members are here today as well. And related high-intensity industrial development, including data centers and the Marcy project, due to concerns regarding potential impacts on the environmental quality, public health, infrastructure, and the well-being of students and staff. Per the board's direction, a copy of the signed resolution was sent from my office on Friday to Supervisor Hilda Solis's office and each member of the City of Industry, City Council, and City Manager, urging the City of Industry to reconsider its reliance on a CEQA exemption and to instead conduct a comprehensive and transparent environmental review process. In addition, we sent a copy of the resolution to each council member in the surrounding cities that RUSD serves: West Covina, Walnut, and La Puente, as well as the Rowland Walnut District and the Walnut Valley Water District. We also sent copies of the resolutions to the Superintendent's Office of Bassett, Hacienda La Puente, Walnut, and West Covina. The Board of Education and I want to extend our sincere appreciation to all Rowland Unified School District stakeholders who reached out, our parents, students, and staff, and community members. Your voice was heard, and as elected officials, the board responded. A copy of the resolution can be found on our district website. We are placing it on our website so the pop-down screen, so as people come onto our website, it brings awareness as well. Thank you. I'll take any questions outside.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Flores. We'll move on to one of the community groups that is here. I believe is the Buckboard Day Committee President, David Martinez.
Thank you, everybody. I just want to let you know we are going to have a parade this year. So make sure it'll be our 53rd year of having a parade. It's a great time to come out, see friends. It is an election year, so you get to see anybody that is running for any type of position. You'll get a chance to meet them and let them know what your concerns are. Also, you get to see a lot of bands from every school. So save the date. It's October the 17th, Nogales and Colima, and we'll have our big festival at Rowland Park. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to move on to our keynote speakers. We're going to mix it up a little bit, and just wanted to mention that the local 1040 Firemen's Union, whose office is right across from BEST, stands firmly against this BEST Center and the proposed additional one right behind their location. Now, when the firemen want to do, it's very important because the firemen, should any problems arise, they're the first ones that are going to respond to this. And there was a BEST center in Orange County that burned for five days last year. So when the firemen say this is not a good thing, I think we should be listening, because they're the ones that are going to have to deal with the problem. I mean, it's something, the second one proposed is right behind them, so when they don't want it in their own backyard, we don't want it in ours as well. And another point is, I was at a GAC meeting, which is the Government Affairs Council meeting, and the director of the Walnut Valley District, Scarlett Kwan, she made an interesting comment today too. She said the water district is planning to do a study on possible water contamination that would affect all of us customers. And should any extra water expense, the need for more water, which these facilities will take, who do you think is going to pay for that extra expense? Each one of us. So that's another reason why it affects our community. So we're going to go on to Edson Chow. Edson is a resident of Rowland Heights. He's been living here since 1989. He has worked in the information technology industry since 2002, which gives him a pretty good long-term perspective on the growth of digital infrastructure. Edson is with the RHCCC. What is it with us and our long acronyms, you know? RHCCC stands for Puente Hills Community Preservation Association, which has filed a lawsuit against the City of Industry. And Edson is here to discuss a little bit about what that lawsuit entails. So let's welcome Edson Chow.
Hello, Rowland Heights. How are you guys? All right, I'm from PHCPA. My goal today is to, actually, you know what, let's start. We have a fundraiser right now. And I lead with that is because when we started the fundraiser, we found out that here is a really big problem is not everybody really understands this entire process of why we are fighting a benefit. This is not my first slide. But anyway, so we spoke to a lot of groups, and a lot of these groups, they understand this best project and data centers are not good for us, but they don't really fully understand why they're not good for us. So my goal today is to, hoping after this presentation, and you can walk out of here, and then you can tell anybody, your friend, your family, your kids even. I spoke about my slides to my kids the other day, and she understands why it's bad. So I'm going to use the most layman terms to tell everybody why this is a bad idea. So let's see what Brandon is doing.
They are working on technical difficulties.
I will explain a couple of things that we have on the desk if you didn't get to it. This QR code, if you scan it and scroll to the bottom, it allows you to sign the petition against the data centers. So make sure you get that QR code. And then this one, if you scan that QR code, it allows you the opportunity to help fund the lawsuit against the City of Industry. Rowland Heights is an unincorporated part of LA County. We do not have the big bucks that the City of Industry has, unfortunately. And sometimes it's hard when the little guy fights a fight with the big guys, but doesn't make it any less worthwhile. So if you want to contribute to that QR code, please scan that and contribute as much as you can. A little bit about the City of Industry. They are right next door to us. They are across the street. Across one side is Rowland Heights, and the other side is the City of Industry. So whatever the City of Industry does on their businesses affects us greatly. And I would have hoped the City of Industry would have been a better neighbor to us, but they have not been. When it comes to putting housing in communities, they put it in Rowland Heights, affecting our infrastructures, affecting the traffic on our streets. They didn't put them in the City of Industry, they put them in Rowland Heights. During COVID, when they needed to relocate the homeless, where did they put them? Rowland Heights, Hacienda Heights, unincorporated part of LA County. They didn't put them in the City of Industry. We have a homeless, unhoused crisis right now because they're here. And whenever they need to do something or solve their problem, they dump it in our backyards. And it's time for Rowland Heights to say, enough is enough. Put it in the City of Industry's backyard, and unfortunately, their backyard is our backyard. So we have an uphill battle, and we hope that you will help contribute to that, get the word out. Some people say, oh, it's a done deal. You know, nothing's a done deal until it happens. And let's hope that we can do something to put a little stop to it, at least in our area. I'm trying to do fillers here, but I'm trying to do as many fillers as I can. Let me remind you again that our May meeting is not going to be in this building because they are doing construction in this building. It will be on the upper level clubhouse. And our June meeting is switched from the second Monday, as it normally is, to the third Monday, which is the 15th of June. And it will hopefully be back in this facility. And are we ready? There we go. Here we go.
All right, let's try this again. Okay, let's do the next slide, please. All right, I am going to start with the question, what is the best? So, if you look at the picture here, best facility looks like somewhat like this. So it's really just a gigantic container or industrial container, which in there is these battery cells, which is made of lithium-ion batteries. And then if you look at the entire container, all batteries in there, lithium batteries. So next slide, please. And we're fighting this project called the RHCCC. RHCCC is actually the developer for the project. Where is it located? They're right here, and it was in the proximity. I think the most thing that stands out is the Great Commission Church of International, which is right across the street, about 250 feet away. And that is Gale right there. Across the street, that's all residential. So everybody's pretty familiar with that area, I hope. Next slide, please. All right, so we got the Walnut substation right there, and they're attempted to build it right by the Walnut station. And then as you can see, Gale's right there. Okay, so why is this dangerous? The top concern is that it's an extremely fire risk that we're putting it there with lithium-ion batteries. So I wrote there, it says lithium-ion batteries enter thermal runaway, which I'm going to show you what that is in a bit. So it could ignite, and we can't really put it out with water. And it could, after it's finished burning, if there's still batteries there, it'll reignite itself again after a few days later. Go ahead and do it. So this is a video which
Ion cells. The movement of lithium ions and electrons produces electricity. The process of a charge or discharge is normally accompanied by a small amount of heat which dissipates from the cell. Thermal runaway is a phenomenon in which the lithium ion cell enters an uncontrolled temperature rises at a rate greater than 20 degrees centigrade per minute, the cell has reached thermal runaway. Thermal runaway can result in extremely high temperatures, violent cell venting, smoke, and fire.
Yeah, that picture really looks real, doesn't it? Your cell phone is actually quite dangerous if you start running hot. Lithium batteries is really, what's the word I want to use here? You have to kind of take care of it because you cannot have it too cold because you won't charge. You cannot have it too hot because now it's going to burn. So that's why in the very first picture you saw there's a gigantic fan attached right on the container there. It's because it has to regulate the temperature. When it's too hot, it's going to start blowing, possibly cooling, try to tone down the temperature a bit so that it doesn't explode, doesn't go into thermal runaway. But when it's too cold, it doesn't take a charge. But that was the whole idea. You have a battery right there. You want to store electricity in there. So anyway, let's go on. Okay, so I want to show you what happened if we actually hold on a bit. So when this thing goes have fire, what is your first instinct that you're going to do? How are you going to fight it? Water. You're going to fight it with water. But unfortunately, you cannot fight a thermal runaway with fire, and I'm going to show you why. So this is when lithium reaction with water.
Group 1 metals are very reactive because they have low ionization energies. One of the ways that indicates its high reactivity is the way that we store the metals. Group 1 metals are typically stored under kerosene or mineral oil to prevent or limit the reaction with the oxygen in the air. Let's look at some of the physical properties for Group 1 metals. We'll start out with lithium. The lithium is coated at this point in time with a layer of both the oxide and the nitride, and we end up with a fairly dull gray appearance. Group 1 metals tend to be relatively soft, and we can easily cut the metal with a knife. What we can do is we can see the shiny metallic surface underneath. If we bring in a conductivity tester, we can see that the lithium is an excellent conductor of electricity. If we add a piece of lithium to the water, one of the things that we notice is the fact that the lithium floats. Group 1 metals are less dense than water. We also see that the lithium reacts very rapidly with the water. This is a single displacement reaction producing hydrogen gas and lithium hydroxide. The lithium hydroxide is very water soluble and dissolves in the water. The hydrogen gas escapes. If we trap some of the gas in a test tube, we can test that the gas is actually hydrogen by testing its flammability. We can test that lithium hydroxide has been produced by adding an acid-base indicator. If we add some phenolphthalein, phenolphthalein is colorless acid and red-purple in base, we can tell that the solution is basic due to the formation of the lithium hydroxide.
Okay, so I want you to picture this, right? A single container, maybe in there, there's one cell that went into thermal runaway, it started burning. So all of a sudden that the temperature rises, and then it causes the cell that's next to it start going to thermal runaway, right? So obviously, we're not going to be dumb that put all the batteries all together, but the thermal runaway is actually a cascading event, right? It'll start, this one starts to burn, raises the temperature, now this one starts to burn, and then it cascades and the fire transfer from cell to cell, container to container, and then all of a sudden this thing just burns uncontrollable fire. And fire department will go there. They cannot save this or fight this with water, because what happens is when you pour waters on these lithium cells, it generates, because the reactions generates hydrogen, and hydrogen is combustible. So you're actually making this, you're actually making more explosion by pouring water onto it. So what happened is firefighters will have to evacuate everybody away from the fire instead of trying to fight the fire. And that's why, okay, I don't know, what's the next slide there? Oh, okay, so maybe let's put a little pause on this. So what happened is, I have a slide, I don't know if it's in there, but, so we have to get away, but sometimes it might be too late. Because when these things burn, there's all these toxic gases just start pouring out and it starts spreading. Depending on how fast the wind is, it starts spreading all around. And then when you inhale it, it could, well, there's a, it could get you very sick. You have to get hospitalized. So that's why the local 1014 fire departments, they're strongly against this project. They actually know about this project. If you look at the date right there, it says January 22, 2025. So they know this quite a while ago, and we just barely knows about it now. So they said that they're strongly against this project, and the key word right there is they request for a full environmental impact report, which is our lawsuit is all about. We're trying to request the EIR. So maybe you can, if you want to play the video through. So Mr. Kurt Cobbler right here did his testimony in opposing of the BEST project in City of Industry.
No, it's not loading. No.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Well, I just, you already know that fire department is against this. Just next slide.
Excuse me, a correction?
Yes.
In LA County Fire Department, Assistant Chief and Battalion Chief of Fire Prevention Services worked with the development on this project, which is how the union knew about it so much sooner than the rest of us. Okay? So the union, Local 1014, the firefighters union, they oppose.
Yes.
But the fire department, the assistant chief and battalion chief are working with the city, and they are in favor of it because they help develop it to make sure that it's safe. We just disagree that it's safe.
All these tests has to get approved by the fire department. So they run this test called UR 9450 or 9540 to, and this test is a very simple test in some way. So they take one unit of the cell, and then they put these heater panels in between the cell, try to get it to burn, and they test these plums, and to see how it affects or how it performs on a fire event. But what they fail to do is, because that's a bare minimum, they test one single cell. But I have a slide in there, but I don't think it was in there. So guess how big this Marishi project is? Someone want to take a guess? Doesn't know? Okay.
Nationwide?
Huh?
Nationwide?
No, just Marishi BEST project. So it takes up 9 acres of land. And it's a 400 megawatt batteries powered or battery fueled, right? And I did a rough estimation. So if you drive an electric car, it roughly sums up to 35,000 electric cars batteries. That powerful. And there is 480 containers, all lined up. Like they pair them up, and then it covers 9 acres of land. So if it's really just one container there, if it burns, I'm pretty sure it's probably harmless. You know, whoever that, well, there's an example that the 1014 that they did is they have a team of 5 firefighters who went to help put out a battery fire on a Tesla. So 4 of them, because they inhale all these toxic gas, they all have to go to the hospital. So the reason I'm against this is because If this thing is in a smaller scale, maybe it's okay. But 480 containers, and imagine one cell start burning and start cascading. I think somebody I remember you went to the January 27 meeting, right? I have been talking to
So
you.
where are you going with this discussion? I get it, I get the high school physics of it. Where are you going with this discussion this evening?
My goal is trying to get everybody to understand how dangerous that is, so that when they go out of the store, they can talk to their families and friends on telling them why this is a bad idea, and it's an extremely fire hazard. Imagine 480 containers of these batteries start burning, and you can put out a fire. What are you gonna do? You just need to let it burn, and then just imagine it burn. So here's a fire hazard severity zone, right? So we already surrounded, so that's Hacienda High right there. We're already surrounded with all these fire severity zones, right? And then they're inviting emergency vests, which is another fire hazard, right there. Yeah. So next slide, please. Okay, so we're all thinking that this thing never really not going to happen because we have it all under control, but it's not, because this is a very famous case that everybody is talking about when we talk about vests. It is the Moss Landing battery fire. It burned for 5 days because you cannot put it out. You have to let it burn. And then after it finished burning, 5 days later it started burning again. It's because when this system is new, you're probably not going to have too much problem, right? But these things decays, and then one day it's going to start burning. So the estimate of all these plums will go spread across 2 to 3 miles. It's confirmed, and then the residents there and the EPA in there tested these soils around 10-mile radius, and they all detected there's metal in the soil from this case. Okay, I'll go really quick with these. So these are all the toxic gas that's released. So we probably don't need to go into chemistries, but it's just that the hydrogen fluoride and hydrogen cyanide is extremely toxic. They only something just a little bit. Okay, so air quality and public health effects. Short term, I talked about it. We have to get it evacuated. You can put out a fire. Long term, we really have no idea with all these chemicals are spreading what's going to happen in the long term. Okay, so when firefighters put out these fires, all that chemicals, byproducts, just goes into the sewer, and somehow we don't know if we can process it and make it safe for us to use. Go ahead. And also, this is more on aesthetic, right? So we have these projects just putting right next to our community, which is across the street, and they all look like an industry look. And do we really want that, right? So on one end of this residential, which is the zoning, we believe that we should live there, but on the other end is industrial. So there's a little dispute between the zoning. Yeah, I mentioned about this because firefighter actually requires to have special training and special equipment just to deal with these thermal runaway fires, which is not exactly conventional today. So it requires special training. And also with all these industrial facilities all around us, it tends to reduce our property values and then increase our insurance risks. Yeah, it will drive us away in some way. All right, I'm gonna stop at this slide because if I keep on going, it's probably gonna take too long. I believe everybody's trying to see Samuel's presentation.
Okay, so once the red dot P right there is the Maurice Best project, and what comes next, which is 3 data centers that's already proposed. We've seen this proposal. The city industry is looking at. They're not happened yet, but we're almost sure that once the best project is in place, they stabilize the grid. What comes next is the data centers. And if we don't stop it today, then it's probably going to be 3 more lawsuits, which we probably cannot afford to fight it. Questions? Yes?
What are the names of the corporations that are supporting all this?
The Maurice is building it, the developers. And
Who's funding it?
And their parent company is called APA, AYPA, APA. And if you look up in the internet, it should be Blackstone.
Blackstone or BlackRock?
Blackstone. Yeah, it's all on the internet, you can take a look.
It sounds like they have unlimited funds for litigation against us.
There's no law. I mean, I understand that it's quite, we try to measure everything by money, but there's a law. We're hoping that the law, nobody's above the law, right? So we're hoping the law will work
It
out.
also sounds
Yes.
like you should not only take care of the local level, but the state level and the national level. What are they doing in each level of government?
You know what, these data centers and these best projects are so new. You almost cannot find any information that to track their history record, right? So generally these government entities are gigantic. In order to do something, it takes time. And that's why we filed the litigation, is because we want to buy us more time so that we could do something, or wait for the government entities to do something before these things explode on us.
And it takes every step, right? Every person. You talk to 10 people. Those 10 people talk to 10 people. Those 10 people talk to 10 more people. That's how it gets out and gets around, right? We're making signs to put on our lawns. We have QR codes on the signs. Edson's group has filed a lawsuit. But Maurice is not the only battery storage center that's getting proposed for City of Industry. There's another one that's in the works. It's larger. It's much, much larger. I'm hoping Sam will tell you about that one. This is not one and done. They are wanting to put as many as they can because they want to make a hub. They're going to make a lot of money doing this. There was somebody here earlier, I'm not quite sure where he went, who was from the City of Industry at that BESS data center meeting that I went to and spoke to. Not sure where he is, but maybe he'd like to raise his hand or stand up to share a little bit of information. Maybe you can answer that gentleman's question. Where are you getting the funding? What do you get out of this? Why are you doing this? Interesting. He didn't stand up, so that's interesting. So.
Yes, sir.
So a few thoughts. So bear with me. Let me give you the background. I'm going to brainstorm a solution for you. So again, my name, for those of you who haven't met me, my name is Dr. Pedro Antonio Casas, Colonel, U.S. Army, retired. I'm a licensed clinical forensic aeromedical psychologist. For those of you who don't know, I'm running for Congress for the new 38th Congressional District. And even if I wasn't, I'd be here because people are important to me, and I know this is a hot topic issue. So first, here's the background on this, as this take it to this point, at least from my perspective as a candidate. And that memo he had from the fire department from January 2025. And I knew this had been in the works for over a year. And the first message to you is, not one politician has shown up once. Not Cisneros, not Solis, not Archuleta. You are not on the radar. They're advocates. As soon as you say something negative, they jump and they read from the script. Point two before I get to my solution for you all. When I was in Afghanistan, I did battlefield circulation everywhere, as far west as Iran, as far east as Pakistan, and as far south as Bastion, Leatherneck in India. If it's important to you, it's important to me, and if you're, particularly if you're a Democrat, I need you to trust me so I can be here for you as a leader. So where am I going with this? Because once again, no political leaders have been here for you for over a year.
Sir, this is a community
Oh.
meeting, and we.
So here's my solution to you on this topic.
Yes.
So I decided to call the city manager of City of Industry. I spoke to him this afternoon. So there are no formal plans for this data center. He seemed very reasonable. And now he's on his heels, and the city's on their heels because of the lawsuit. But they seemed very amenable. Please don't laugh at anyone, it's disrespectful. And
So we have some information that you can read, so you can be a little more informed.
well, I spoke to him this afternoon. This is my time. I spoke to him this afternoon.
You're being disrespectful. He was giving a presentation and you interrupted the presentation.
Stop to this. This is not a forum to go back and forth. We have a speaker here speaking. You have a question to ask. Do you have a question to
My
ask?
recommendation to you is sit down with them. I think they're more amenable to making this a residential area than I suspect.
We've tried. Thank you very much. We've tried.
Is there one more question to ask before we move on? And then we'll ask all the questions at the end.
Can we get that guy out of here? Yes. Can we get that guy out of here, really?
No, it's okay. He can get educated. Yeah.
This is a public meeting. Listen to the next question, please. Please, we need to stop with the back and forth. Mr. Humphries. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. My name is Adriana Quiñones, resident of Rowland Heights. And I have worked closely with Sam Brown, with Clean Air Coalition, regarding Chemetco and Ecobat. City of Industry does not care about our communities. The bottom line is they're out to make money. They have lobbyists in Sacramento and Washington, D.C., so they can tell you a lot of stories. We actually have fought very hard regarding Chemetco, the 29 violations, the contamination of soil, air, and water. We have done that for at least 10 years myself. My nephew died of a rare form of cancer. That's how I got involved. But now this community has the opportunity to prevent that in this community. Our community in Rowland Heights has, I know where my sister lives, almost every household has a history of cancer and health problems. And that needs to stop. We need to step up as communities and say enough is enough. How many people need to die before they stop this? We need to have our state elected officials come up with new laws. A city cannot do everything they want because there's people, there's other areas where people live and we get affected. So we need new laws. We need to, tomorrow, we need to call our elected officials. We need to send emails, we need to send letters. We need to protest. We need to get louder because they're not listening, okay? So if they're not listening, we need to let them out. We need to get somebody that's going to care about the people that elected them into office. Thank you.
One last little bit. Yeah, one last little bit. Look, we appreciate everything that City of Industry that's doing good for the community. It's just that this particular project for me is unreasonable. It's just a gigantic fire hazard. No mean of being disrespectful, okay? And then we'll definitely take your advice and then
I
sit down
agree
with
with
it,
you.
okay?
I absolutely agree with you. I just think that the friction points are not helping.
Oh, yes, for sure, yeah.
I just want to answer Susan's question earlier. What can help immediately is filing a litigation, which we did. So we need your support on this litigation.
Donate.
How do we get one of those signs to put on the lawn?
Thank
Thank you.
There's a Board of Supervisors meeting tomorrow, downtown LA at 9:30. If you guys want to go make your voice be heard, show up to that meeting. We can give you the information afterwards.
There's also
Okay.
a Zoom feed on that, so you can look it up. It will be televised through Zoom, I believe.
Yes.
So you can be on that. You also can sign up to make comments via phone or Zoom.
Yes.
We'll get that information out to them through social media and email. Let's move on to the next speaker, and I'd like to caution everybody again, the speakers need to speak, present, and then you need to ask a question. It's not a forum to promote yourself or to give a speech about, something. Ask a question of that speaker, okay? It's not that opportunity. If you want to have a one-on-one with that speaker, you can take it and speak with them at a later date, okay? So if you have something to say, ask a question to that speaker. And when you do speak, please be respectful to one another, okay? It's not a shouting match. It's not the person who speaks the loudest, okay? I would like to introduce our next speaker. His name is Sam Brown. He is a community advocate in the San Gabriel Valley. He is involved in environmental justice issues facing communities, urban greening, and protecting public land. He is also a resident of Avocado Heights, where he continues to do local community organizing around the public and environmental health impacts of the City of Industry. Let's welcome Sam Brown.
Hi everybody, I hope you're doing well. I also want to introduce Andrea, who's right here up with me. Him and the SG Progressive Action No Data Center Monterey Park have helped us co-found the No Data Center SGV Coalition. And without Andrew's help, we wouldn't be anywhere near as effective. And I also want to shout out just a lot of the people that are here in the room, folks that were helping man the table right there, Andres, and, has been a good volunteer, Tiffany here, Brandon, and others that have been really helpful for us. So I just want to make sure that their work is recognized. So about, a little over a month ago, I came, and a small group of us had been looking into this issue of data centers. And since then, it's really a national discussion topic. Maine is on the verge of becoming the first state to ban data centers. In the Imperial Valley, right, in the far south of the state of California, Lithium Valley is what I call it. They just arrested somebody for doing a public comment yesterday during one of the meetings. It's pretty concerning, right? Because we do have a right to do our free speech and to submit public comment. And we're seeing that there's a huge blowback against data centers and data center related infrastructure. We just saw that Oracle laid off 18% of their workforce to save $10 billion. And then they're going to use those $10 billion to reinvest into a $100 billion, they're saving $10 billion, so they're going to invest $100 billion in building data centers, right? So the correlation is very clear. The rise in data centers, hyperscale data centers, is the loss of jobs, right? And automation coming with that, because a lot of companies believe that they can replace workers or laborers using data centers. But there's also local impacts for that, and we can get into all that stuff. But I just want to give you a little bit of an update about what's happened since the last time we presented. So last time we were here, I showed this map really towards the end to show where City of Industry, the geographical boundaries are located. Anywhere that's purple could potentially be a future data center or a battery energy storage system. The reason that that's the case is because the first thing City of Industry did was to change the zoning code through an amendment. Now, they haven't fully changed the zoning code for data centers, but that is one area that we would like to contest, and that starts with the December 17th Planning Commission, where they decided to amend the zoning code to streamline the approval of data centers, and they didn't provide any environmental review as part of that. The first frontier of fighting irresponsible land use planning and development is zoning. If they change the zoning, guess what? They can now streamline the approval of all future data centers and battery energy storage systems because they did successfully change the zoning code, unless litigation challenges it, right? So I want to give a quick shout out to Edson and all the folks that he's been working with. I want everybody to know, I'm not formally part of that lawsuit or, the writ of mandate, asking a judge to intervene and look at whether CEQA was applied effectively and in compliance with the law. But that is the most significant development that's happened since the last time I came up here and spoke. And I just want to give a shout out to Edson, because litigation, if it doesn't cost City of Industry money, they're not going to stop, okay? It's as simple as that. And so we could do the advocacy and the community organizing, but City of Industry is not going to stop approving these projects unless there's a significant legal challenge with a good legal team. Right now, City of Industry has Shepherd Mullen, one of the most important prestigious land use planning law firms. But I believe Edson and his folks have a really good lawyer, and I think that we're going to go toe to toe in that sense, right? They're going to call into questions because there's been a lot of improprieties within this process. But look at this map, and I just want you to think about all the surrounding unincorporated communities, all the cities, and when you look at City of Industry, a city of approximately 265 people, half the people are in a convalescent home, El Encanto convalescent home. A city that has a daytime population of approximately 70,000 people, 3,000 warehouses and manufacturing centers within the City of Industry. A city that produces in revenue over $3 billion a year and is currently sitting on $1 billion in reserves. A very wealthy city. But how much of that is coming back into our communities? As a matter of fact, how many of our property values are impacted by the City of Industry? The people that live in Walnut and Diamond Bar, when Majestic Realty decided to demolish that hillside, right? They just completely flattened a hillside using these large bulldozers. And as you drive up, some of the streets in Diamond Bar and you get into the hills, all you can look at is the eyesore of those warehouses. And that's where they want to do one of the data centers, right? This theme of City of Industry is, yes, it produces jobs. We're aware of that. But they are not accountable to our local community. And they have too much power and they have too much money. And the state legislator needs to step in and needs to rein them in, because we shouldn't have to fight this hard to get some justice in our community. And so a lot of people asked us, well, what can be done if you don't live in City of Industry? You can't recall them, right? So we already discussed that, litigation is effective and can slow things down, certainly, and should. But it might be successful. But on January 27th, 2026, the same day that there was a hearing in City of Industry, which was the Planning Commission meeting to discuss the battery energy storage system and the approval of the battery energy storage system and a change, the zoning code amendment that was recommended. That same day, that same evening, we went to Bassett Unified School District. We had placed on the agenda a resolution asking them to oppose any amendment to the zoning code that does not do a comprehensive environmental impact report. Now, is this a symbolic resolution? Maybe it is. I think that it's not, actually, because the data center issue has not been decided at the city council. And if we want to stall or delay the data center issue in City of Industry, by forcing every project to do a comprehensive environmental impact report, where A, you are required to do a cumulative environmental analysis of the impacts of the project. B, you are required to consult with all impacted agencies that would be potentially impacted by this development. Well, it turns out City of Industry is the water supplier for Bassett Unified School District, right? So if they do approve a data center, then it's likely, more than likely, that the school district is going to pay more for water because they get water from the water utility company within the City of Industry, Industry Public Utilities Waterworks System. So it's not symbolic. There are impacts if these data centers get approved. One, you have the urban heat island effect. CNN just reported that there could be up to a 16-degree Fahrenheit increase in temperatures around the vicinity of a data center. Natural gas emissions from these diesel turbines that are backup generators, which in some cases have proven to be operating 24 hours a day. Just look at what happened with Elon Musk's backup generators. That needs to be part of the analysis, right? The battery energy storage systems that everybody keeps talking about, transitioning towards renewable energy. Well, if they're being built to stabilize the grid to accommodate the data centers, then it's not really renewable energy because you have to evaluate the consequences of diesel gas emissions that would be emitted by the diesel turbines. Next slide. And we got a resolution from Hacienda La Puente Unified School District last month. Adriana Quinones is a board member there. Thank you so much for your vote, right? The school district headquarters for Hacienda La Puente Unified School District is a block away from one of these battery and energy storage systems. They used to have a school that was right across the street. Now it's going to be homes for people that I believe have purchased a lot of those homes already. Imagine their surprise purchasing a home and getting ready to move in with their family, and all of a sudden across the street, a battery energy storage system, a ticking time bomb, really. It's real, and that has urban heat island effects as well. So we gotta, really look at that. But you can look at the resolution. We're gonna be putting it on the website, the No Data Center SGB website. Andy can talk a little bit about that. But that is a successful resolution, and clearly there's impacts, to the school district employees, the personnel that work out of the school district headquarters. And there's, the Rowland Museum, there's a church right across the street. So this is one way to force City of Industry to have to disclose the environmental impacts, to do a cumulative environmental analysis. And just recently, Rowland Unified School District, I see the superintendent here. Thank you so much. And so I also want to let folks know, people like Fallon and, just some of the other members of the coalition were really phenomenal in getting this placed on the agenda, making the issue the compelling case. Everybody that spoke, Kim, you did an amazing speech, Edson and Candace and everybody, getting people to show up, to speak, to show why this is an important issue to us. This is an important issue, right? And I just went on the school district website to pull the resolution, and the first thing that pops up was Rowland Unified School District passes a resolution not to support data centers without environmental impacts. Amazing resolution, and you can take a look at that. So this is part of the strategy, okay? So that's already 3 school districts, and we'll talk about some more successes.
Hi, so another quick introduction. So my name is Andrew. Andrew, yep, I used to live in Hacienda Heights. My extended family still lives there. I went to Los Altos. My wife went to Rowland High School, but now I'm in Alhambra. So I was actually participating and supporting with the organizing in Monterey Park. So how many of you heard of the data center project in Monterey Park? So it made national headlines because this was a big fight, and it's still a big fight. So an Australian company wanted to build almost a 250,000 square foot data center in Monterey Park. So I'll use American units, 4.5 football fields. It was large, and they purchased the property across the street, which was even larger. And they wouldn't talk about that one because it wasn't a project yet. But when they build data centers, they're usually in clusters. But I just want to say, but as of now, that company has withdrawn their application in Monterey Park because of the huge fight, and they saw the writing on the wall. And so, half the battle's been won. The city of Monterey Park actually has a ballot measure. It will be the first in the country where voters will vote to ban data centers in the community. So they're canvassing and they're getting people out to vote for that one. And next week there will be an ordinance. So separately, the city council there will pass an ordinance to ban data centers as an ironclad kind of plan to make sure data centers will never go into Monterey Park. So I just want to tell this story because it's ongoing. We heard about this project 2 years after the initial conversations with the city. And we actually were, so it was a good story. We had a resident there that actually saw it on the agenda, told us about it, and then we posted on social media trying to get people out, and hundreds of people showed up. And that was the last meeting before they were to approve the project. So we caught them right at the end. And I have folks here that ask, is it too late to fight these battery storage centers? Is it too late to fight the city of industry? No. They barely even have their project, they barely have any inkling of projects together in terms of data centers. You are at the beginning of this fight. And it may be a longer fight, but a lot of people are engaged right now and want to engage more people. Even the Monterey Park residents showed up at the industry meeting, at the El Monte meeting to support in solidarity because a lot of you guys came out to Monterey Park. And this is a regional solidarity that we need because there's a reason why they're picking on us. There's a reason why they're coming all at once. Data centers are not new, right? Data centers have been around for a long time. But this fast proliferation of data centers is driven by tech speculation, right? Sam talked a little bit about how jobs are being replaced. They're gambling on AI. They are building these massive data centers in places like Monterey Park because they want to tap into the grid. Because it would be cheaper than building it out in the middle of nowhere. And for me personally, I don't want them built anywhere because there's really no need for them. It's driven by tech speculation. So I'll talk about a little bit about the city of El Monte. El Monte actually just passed a moratorium banning data centers for now as they work on a permanent ordinance to ban it. And we purposely targeted El Monte because Madrid Middle School, part of Madrid Middle School is in the city of industry, but it's also part of it is also in El Monte. So we wanted to go and make get the city to pass a moratorium and ordinance and a ban to send a message that we don't want them in El Monte either. So we're just waiting for the city of El Monte to come up with an ordinance so we can go back again and make sure they actually adopt it. Montebello, after what they saw happen in Monterey Park, also passed a moratorium to ban data centers. And they'll be working on a permanent ban. And the city, or the county of Los Angeles is also working on a possible moratorium. And that's why we're going to be, well, some of us will be there in person tomorrow, but it's also streamed live. Please join that meeting tomorrow morning at 11. Provide comments. At least unincorporated areas will have a ban on data centers, and that's 1 million people in unincorporated LA County. So that's how important it is. We go on the next slide. Oh, yeah. So I talked about this already. Next slide.
So I just wanted to dispel, there is the No Data Center Monterey Park, and then more recently the No Data Center SGD. And I just want everybody to know that we are working with Monterey Park, a united San Gabriel Valley, because from Alhambra, East LA, all the way to Pomona, we're all impacted, and we share a lot more in common, across these communities. And we really celebrate our diversity and our background and the hardships that many of us have had to endure. And we're cognizant that we're also a home to many immigrants. And it's not fair that City of Industry or in Monterey Park that it even had got that far without meaningful community engagement, right? Community engagement when you're a developer is often check the box, just do show up to one of these, bicycle events where they close down the streets and you have a little booth and you have people spin a wheel and then you give them a flyer and say, yeah, we reached 400 people at this event. That's not meaningful community engagement. If the people that live in the immediate vicinity were not notified, if they were not receiving materials in the languages that they often speak, right? Many of us are not primarily English language speakers. And there's a new law that was passed that, at least the noticing for the different environmental reviews should be in multiple languages. And it was not in the City of Industry. But the latest development is we got some public records, and there's another battery energy storage system. So Edson talked about Marici battery energy storage system right there near Gale and Stimson. Well, guess what? There's another one that's coming. The other one is the Kestrel, Kestrel, battery energy storage system. So and that developer is RWE, is the same one that's trying to pass a battery energy storage system in the city of Covina, right? And that one is BlackRock. It is in fact a BlackRock. So you got Blackstone doing AYPA and the Marici battery energy storage system, and you have BlackRock that's trying to get the Kestrel battery energy storage system. And if you look right here on that track map, part of the circle on the far left-hand side and to the bottom, right? Who knows what that area is?
Can't read it.
It's an old map. Go ahead, go to the next slide. So you can't see it right here, but that's Stimson Avenue. There's a little cul-de-sac, Phoenix Drive. Phoenix Drive ends right at Hacienda La Puente Unified School District headquarters. That's where they want to put this next one. And it's right next to the fire station, local station 43. So once again, on the corner of Gale and Stimson, you're about to put another battery energy storage system, which causes the urban heat island effect, which has a storage capacity of 4 hours, which we've been told is supposed to be built to help reduce our dependence on fossil fuels and natural gas so that we can start moving towards renewable energy. That's not renewable energy here locally. That's renewable energy objectives that the state of mandate has imposed on the different utility companies. And this is something called a resource adequacy or arbitrage, where the utility companies are able to show a sufficient amount of energy storage capacity so that it's profitable for them, right, to start reducing the natural gas emissions, such as at the Walnut Creek Natural Gas Peaker Plant, which is right there in front of Gale and Simpson. And they're being cited, right, the location for the battery energy storage system right by a utility substation for the utility company for Southern California Edison is because it's the cheapest for interconnectivity, right? So we, the residents that are impacted in Hacienda Heights, in La Puente, in Rowland Heights, right? We are the unfortunate beneficiaries of having the unfortunate luck of living next to the City of Industry, where it's cheaper. It's cheaper to plug in to the substation, right? And this new one, they would have to do either an overland transmission to connect to the substation, or it would have to be underground. Guess what? There's electromagnetic fields that come from this interconnectivity to the substation. And in the text messages that we've gotten between the City of Industry and the consultant for the developer, they're talking about, oh, well, don't you need a study before you go ahead and build these electromagnetic fields that would be coming from the overhead transmission line? And they didn't get a study, right? And so the fire department is apparently, right, not the firefighters union who've been really good on this issue, but the fire department, the county fire department, is letting these developers get away with non-compliance of the fire rules that we have in place, and they're signing off on it and streamlining what should be a mandatory compliance code, right? And it's really concerning. So that's another battery energy storage system. So we've got 3 pending data centers, 2 battery energy storage systems. But like Andrew said, we're at the beginning. We started our fight at the zoning code, right? Because if we can solve them there, we can force them to do the most comprehensive environmental impact report every single time, as they should. These projects are not without environmental impacts. They're not without public health impacts. They're not without impacting our property value. They're not without contributing to displacement of members of our community. They're not without impacts in general. And I think, Andrew can maybe talk about this a little bit, but there's just simply not enough water or current electrical energy to support data centers, right? We just have to remind each other what a data center encompasses. One data center is the equivalent of an entire city's use of electricity. One city's entire use of water, 1 million gallons of water a day, up to 5 million on some of these hyperscale data centers. I mean, just think about all the times you had to pay more for watering your lawn in the summer during drought years, okay? Because some of us had to pay fines for that, right? Think about how regulated that was, okay? Now think about why the same doesn't apply to data centers. How is it that they can get away with using 1 million gallons of water a day? Well, they're going to say, oh, but there's a new method to use water so that we can, recycle the water. It's called the liquid cooling method. It's still water intensive. It's a lie. It's called, yeah. There's something called greenwashing, right? Where you make it sound really nice and you make it sound like it's environmentally sustainable. It's not, right? You want to say anything?
Yeah, I'll just make a really simple illustration. I think Edson touched on this earlier. When you're using your laptop, you have like 50 tabs open, you're watching a movie, your laptop gets really hot, it starts getting really loud, right, because of the fans. That's just like a small sample of what's going on in the data center. So they have to keep these running 24/7, otherwise all that information will go down if it blacks out, right? That's why they have these backup generators. That's why they have to keep using all this, either electricity or water or both to cool down these systems. Because if they overheat, they have to shut them down, and they cannot risk shutting them down. And that's why it's so water intensive. So the project in Monterey Park was going to use twice the amount of electricity of the entire city. And that's just to illustrate, when Sam says, flex your, the state tells you to flex your power, right? These companies get first dibs on power. Why is that? Well, Edison was going to get $16 million a year from that data center. So we are being left in the dark, and this whole project in Monterey Park, they notify residents that live 500 feet away. That was it. And so nobody heard about it, not until the last minute. And even worse here in the city of Ministry, they didn't notify anyone, because what they're saying is you're not the resident. So these cities, city of Ministry, have you heard of Vernon? Anyone heard of Vernon? Similar issues. We are trying to fight back. We're trying to fight the city of Ministry in all sorts, any angle we can. And another angle is to fight them in the state level. So folks mentioned it earlier. There is precedent where a state senator or state assembly member is sponsored a bill to dissolve the city of Vernon. So we can threaten this city with dissolution. We can get the state to audit the city. We can get the state to do something. So another avenue is to contact your state representatives, your assembly members and your state senators, like Rubio,
Lisa Calderon.
Yeah, Lisa Calderon.
Archuleta.
Yeah, Bob Archuleta. We have that information on the website. You always look it up. When their representatives show up here, tell them, why are they allowing the city to do so much harm in a community? You need to do something about it. So even if they don't do a bill, have these state electeds pressure the city. That's what their job. That's their job, right? They're supposed to govern. They're supposed to make sure that we are living in a community that is healthy, that is safe. Next slide. So last thing I want to add before I turn it over. So the city of Myron Park, the applicant for the data center hired Actum. And guess what? Actum recently got hired by the city of Industry as a PR firm. So just letting you know, they hired a losing firm. They hired losers. So same thing. Shepherd Mullen, the lawyers, the attorneys, same attorneys that HMC hired. And guess what? They also lost. So just know that City of Industry hired a bunch of losers to fight. So we're going to win.
One indication of that, and you guys all helped out with this, was sharing our petition online that was being circulated. Thank you, everybody that helped follow, share, spread this information. We have 18,000 people that have signed up. And with that, their emails as well. So we are doing newsletters. We just sent out edition number 2. Edition number 3 will be going out soon. Please get involved. You saw the table outside. You might have signed in with the Rowland Heights Community Coordinating Council. We are on top of this. When I came here last month or a little bit after, I was nowhere near where we're at today, right? I was working with a small group. We had gone and submitted public comment in person at the City of Industry meetings. I was kicked out of one of these City of Industry public meetings. And since then, some of you might have gone and might have not spoken because you had to wait 2.5 to 3 hours to speak for 1 minute, right? That's not fair. That needs to change. We're going to be challenging that. We have public records requests that are forthcoming. And we will challenge the City of Industry to be a better neighbor while we fight them on these data centers. So do not give up hope. Thank you for coming out tonight and stay involved. And just one last thing I wanted to say. This is what we did in 1 month, okay? We got Walnut Valley Unified School District. We want them to pass a resolution. We want Pomona Unified School District to pass a resolution. We want the City of Diamond Bar to pass a resolution. We want the City of Walnut to pass a resolution. City of La Puente to pass a resolution. We're going to be fighting the battery energy storage system in Covina. There's a lot. Every day there's going to be a meeting. And tomorrow, Board of Supervisors meeting, we're going to submit public comment in favor of the resolution to ban data centers in unincorporated Los Angeles County. Doesn't change the situation in City of Industry, but we should use that opportunity to tell the county, get your fire department in order. Make sure they have these battery energy storage systems adhering to the law. We don't want any further exemptions, and we support your motion and resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a jam-packed evening. If there are some questions to be asked, they will be outside for a little bit of time. However, the park does close at 9 p.m. The gates will be locked, so you don't want to get stuck in here. Quick announcements again. May's meeting, May 11th, will be upstairs in the clubhouse. And June 15th meeting, the second Monday has been changed to the third Monday, which is June 15th here. Thank you again for coming. I appreciate it.
And if you didn't grab a fire, make sure you grab a fire. As I said before, PHCPA is fundraising for the litigation. They have a goal of $15,000 by the 19th. That's really soon. So please grab a fire and distribute it. We have it in Cantonese, Mandarin, Spanish, and English. Thank you.
I think I can still get text messages.
Okay. Be careful. Safe travel.
Thank you so much.
Safe travel. Safe travel. Thank you. We'll see you next month. Thank you for coming. Oh, good. We're trying our best. Remember.
You're going to be in public.
Wojtek next.
Who? Me? No way. No way. Thank you.
I can't do It's interesting how everybody's talking about the fire department. They talk about the local. And they, firefighters union.
Yeah. It's a
Like
lot.
you were saying, I don't know if we want to hear that. What was his name? William Lomo kind of. He said, who do I know in the fire?